Now, Steve, you've made so many signings in your career. We thought we'd just round things off by asking you about a few of them. I'm going to start with somebody who's made a massive impact, and that's Joelinton. £40 million, Hoffenheim to Newcastle, and what a turnaround!
I have to be brutally honest with Joelinton. Before I'd signed for Newcastle, whoever they were speaking to before me, who didn't quite happen, or the manager's job, but Joelinton was already done. So Steve Nixon had already, and Lee Charnley had already done the deal. So I would love to put my name to Joe. The only thing I would say is that he was going in as Newcastle's number 9, which when you worked with him closely, I'm going to be brutally honest, I never seen him as a central midfield player, but he always for Hoffenheim played on the left. You know, the foreign teams in particular play a lot with a 4-3-3, and Joe was always playing on the left at Hoffenheim, was never really an iconic centre forward. Consequently, a mover position, he's done very, very well. But look, the 40 million, I looked at it at the time, but it was already in the system and done before I got to the club.
There's a couple of special ones. I'm sure Jeff will ask you that, but I wanted to go to Ben Arfa because you obviously loaned him, and I thought Ben Arfa was a talented boy.
Oh, really, really talented. Really, I mean, listen, on ability alone, he could play for any team. However, his work rate was a little, shall we say, a little bit left to be desired. Is that the right words to put it? Politely. I remember at Old Trafford one time, I've took him off after half an hour, and because he just basically didn't get above a jog. And you know it's like when you go to Old Trafford, his hands to the pump and everybody's working their socks off to try and get the ball and get a kick of the ball, and he just jogged around. And I said to him at half time, the goalkeeper, which was true, the goalkeeper had done more running than you had, and that's why I took you off. So he wasn't best pleased, but wonderful, wonderful talent.
Yeah. Talking about great talent, Allan Saint-Maximin has to be in that category, doesn't he?
Well, for me, single-handedly, he done as much as anybody for me at Newcastle, because were out, and you're relying on him to do a little bit of magic. Difficult to manage at times, not in a bad way, but you know,
in what sense?
Well,
game management.
He was absolutely adamant that he was taking his children to school, and one was at one school and one was the other. And by the time he got in, it was like, and beat the traffic, it was like 20-10. I said, but you're supposed to be at 9:15, Alan. But that was a problem, you know. I've got to take the children to school. I said, okay, somebody else take the children to school. No, it's my responsibility to take the children to school. So along those lines, but
can't make that up, can you?
Yeah, you can't make it up. And but you know something, he loved football. He did stuff which only great players, and I'm not one of the words very often great. Only great players could do. He could lift you off your seat. He was worth the admission money alone to go and watch him. Some of the stuff he did in training was absolutely breathtaking, and. I hope he's doing well, and I think he's out in Saudi now. But a great player. Them 2 years I had him, Saint-Maximin for 15 million quid was a real find.
There were some lovely shots of them, weren't there, as well? You know, when he would do things like give his watch away to the fans and things.
I wonder if them Rolexes were proper Rolexes. I'm going to tell you,
had a pretty good supply of them, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Right. When you had Harry Maguire at Hull.
Oh, well, there's another story. So Stan Tennant, and for the people who don't know Stan has managed hundreds and hundreds of times, and it's fair to say he's a character. But he pulls me and says, there's a young kid playing at Sheffield, Steve, we've got to go and watch. I says, yeah, who is it? He said, young centre-half. He's only 21. He says, he's played 150 times already. He's captain of the club at 21 at Sheffield United. So we're going to go and watch him tonight. They're playing in some Mickey Mouse trophy they were at the time. They were in Division 1 and playing. And he says, we're not going to go in the director's box because everybody will know then. So we're sitting in the stand. And Harry, at the time, he's not the best of movers. When you watch Harry Maguire, you know, so straight away I said, Stan, I'm a bit worried about his pace and his mobility-wise. Can he have the mobility? Because we were in the Premier League at the time. And we always knew it was going to take a little bit of time for him. And anyway, I was still chumping on about it. Anyway, I got in the car park afterwards. We've seen him play. And he goes to me, well, what do you think? I said, well, I'm a bit worried about his mobility. He goes, listen, Steve, he's 21. He's captained the team for the last 3 years. He's been player of the year 3 years. He's good in both boxes. And let me tell you, you weren't very mobile, but you did all right. And your left side was your left side was really, really poor. And you couldn't really run, and you did all right. I'm telling you, the kid's a player. So I says, okay, Stan, well, okay, I'll go by you again. And went to watch him again and thought, something, the kid has got something. And when we signed him for about £2 million.
Brilliant.
Did he see that he'd got enough to eventually go on and be England captain?
Well, hey, listen, he's done remarkably well, and did remarkably well at Leicester, and then got the big move to Man U. I felt it's been a little bit harsh, the treatment he's had. I thought he'd been made a little bit of a scapegoat. I'm always going to defend him because I know him well, know him personally, and the kid wants to do well. He's resilient to see it through, which you need at the level he's playing and what he's playing at. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing for England in the Euros because Gareth trusts him. And have we got anybody better?
I was going to ask you, I went briefly, Steve, because we ain't got much time left, but Ben White didn't play for England or pulling out like for his own personal reasons. You didn't get to play for England. Is it because of other people in front of you? Because you was at your pomp of your career.
Yeah. I people ask me often if it, but Terry Butcher, Tony Adams, Des Walker, they must have had 70 caps, 100 caps. Bobby Robson in particular played these guys all the time. I was never going to be Graham Taylor's cup of tea. I understand that very, very early, and it bypassed me. But listen, it was something which I'd have loved to play for your country. I was given the opportunity by the late Terry Venables, because Brian was Robson's assistant, remember? Yeah. And they offered me to play in a friendly at Wembley, and Terry rang me and said, look, we're struggling a little bit, but I think you deserve a cap. And we're playing, I think it was Nigeria at Wembley, and I declined it to say, listen, Terry, thank you very much, but as a sympathy vote to get one cap, I would rather not. So whether that was the right thing or the wrong thing, I'm not too quite sure, but that was the decision I made.
Steve, just to finish off with a couple more of the many, many, many texts. Tony says, Steve, true warrior and leader on and off the pitch, a player that commanded respect. They don't make him like Steve Bruce anymore. Although I'm a Spurs fan, I always admired Steve and his work ethics on the pitch and as a manager. And Andy, the Manchester United fan, says you should get Steve Bruce on more often. Meanwhile, Rich, the Palace fan, he's still saying, boo! Steve, it's been absolutely brilliant to have your company this morning. Thanks very much for spending so much time with us. Good luck in the search for a job. Hope to see you back in management very soon.
Maybe what you're doing, Jeff, you can give me a job. You're touring around the country in these theatres. Any chance?
Yeah, well, there is. There are a few seats left in Cheltenham tonight, so if you want to come along and see what we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Steve, it's been great having you. Cass, great to see you once again. And, of course, talkSPORT Breakfast back tomorrow morning at 6. Join us then.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.